Hello everyone, so we'll be starting epidemiology, which is one of the important topics in neoplasia, but not as important as nomenclature and differences in the malignant and benign tumors. And from this chapter, we'll be doing the most high yield stuff first, and then we will be moving towards the less high yield points. So over here we have a table about occupational cancers. We have the carcinogenic agents in the first column, then we have the associated cancer in the second column, and in the third column we have the sites or the uses of the carcinogenic agent. Starting with arsenic and arsenic compounds, epidemiological evidence suggests that there is a strong link between exposure to arsenic and the development of skin cancer, especially basal cell carcinoma, and there's also a link to the development of lung carcinoma, right? So, in what capacity or which people do you think are likely to be exposed to arsenic, right? It is obviously an occupational hazard, but which people are most exposed, or in which industries would you expect to find arsenic? Arsenic is a byproduct of metal smelting, because during the process of metal smelting, arsenic is produced as a byproduct. That is not what you want to make, but during the process, certain hazardous chemicals are made, including lead, including nickel, including arsenic. So people who do that as a part of their profession are going to be exposed to arsenic, which is a carcinogenic agent. First point. Second point, arsenic is a component of certain alloys, right? And an alloy is basically a mix of two metals, and they're basically generally mixed in certain proportions, and the reason for the mixing is to get a third metal with certain distinct properties that you want. An example of an alloy which contains arsenic is arsenical bronze. Alright, arsenical bronze. So we're saying that arsenic is produced as a byproduct of smelting, and also it is part of certain alloys, including arsenical bronze. It is also found in certain devices like electrical and semiconductor devices, in medications, in herbicide, in fungicide, etc. So these three things, medication, herbicide, and fungicide, can be remembered together. You have to just remember as a byproduct of metallic smelting and as part of certain alloys and in various electronic devices. The second carcinogenic agent that needs to be done is asbestos. The asbestos has been linked to the development of lung carcinoma, right? Esophageal, gastric, and colon carcinoma. And specifically, if you were to search it up on Google, the first cancer that would come up in association to asbestos is mesothelioma, which is a cancer of the lining of the lungs. You're probably familiar with a non-neoplastic but chronic disorder known as asbestosis, which is because of exposure to asbestos. So that should make it easier for you to remember that asbestos is linked to the development of mesothelioma. Right? Before we knew it was carcinogenic, asbestos was used for many applications. It is no longer used for many of them, but it is still used because we don't have alternatives. Certain properties of asbestos make it very important. It is fire resistant, it is heat resistant, and it is friction resistant, and that does explain why we use asbestos in underlayment. Underlayment is basically a part of the floor that is found below what you normally see, right? So it is a second layer which is serving a particular function. And asbestos is also found in roofing tiles. Certain houses use roofing tiles, and they're basically tiles above the roof, and I don't think we have many of those in Pakistan, but those are used to keep the rain out. So floor tiles, and we have roofing tiles, and we have underlayments, and we have brake linings, and you should Google that. Brake linings, it's a part of the brake, as you would have guessed it, right? And the third carcinogenic agent is benzene. And if you have studied benzene as a carcinogenic agent, and there are various epidemiological agents which have specifically linked benzene to leukemias. And over here they have specified acute myeloid leukemia. There are two types of leukemias because there are two cell lines, the myeloid line and the lymphoblastic line. Now benzene, again, in spite of the fact that it is a known hazard, it is still a principal component of light oil. Light oil is basically light crude oil, and it's very important because you can get a via purification or via putting it through a refinery, you can get the refined products. And also benzene is important in paint and lithography. Lithography is basically a specific uh, type of printing, and benzene is found in rubbers, in detergents, it is used in dry cleaning, etc. And previously it was also used as a fumigant and as a solvent. So beryllium and beryllium compounds are related to lung carcinoma. Beryllium is basically something that is found in certain sophisticated electrical equipment. It is used in nuclear reactors. It is used in aerospace equipment. It is used as a component of missile fuel. Cadmium is important because epidemiological studies, some but not all, have linked cadmium to the development of prostatic cancer. And where do you expect to find cadmium? Well, you've probably heard of nickel cadmium batteries, at least when you were doing chemistry in A levels or FSC, right? So it's found over there. Cadmium is also used in metal plating because of the certain properties it has. So it is used in metal plating, it is used in batteries, it is also used as a yellow pigment. So it's part of it, it basically gives color. It is used in yellow pigments, and solvents are basically low melting point alloys, right? Cadmium was also used in general alloys. The chromium compounds again are related to lung carcinoma, right? And chromium is important because of its use as a preservative, specifically as part of wood preservatives. Chromium is also important as an alloy, specifically the chromium oxide, and it's also used in paint, and it's also used in pigment. Nickel compounds. Nickel, if you Google, you will come to know that nickel is linked to lung carcinomas and nasal carcinomas, and over here it is written lung and oropharyngeal carcinoma, right? And nickel plating is something that is done, if something you probably already heard in chemistry at the very least, that you carry out nickel plating for certain reasons. You plate certain metals with nickel, certain substances with nickel, right? It is also specifically a component of ferrous alloys. I don't really know the chemistry, but specifically ferrous alloys may be put in nickel, right? Also used in ceramics, and again, as I've previously mentioned, cadmium nickel batteries. And it is also produced as a byproduct, just as arsenic was a byproduct of metal smelting. Nickel is a byproduct of stainless steel arc welding, the way you produce stainless steel. Radon is obviously radioactive. It is linked to lung carcinoma from the decay of minerals containing uranium. It is a very lethal and a very serious hazard in quarries and in mines, so beware. And the last one is vinyl chloride. It is important and it is most frequently asked in MCQs among all of these. It is the most frequently asked carcinogen, and which human cancer is relevant to it? You must remember this always: hepatic angiosarcoma. And where do you normally find vinyl chloride? Vinyl chloride is found in the highest amount in the air around factories that produce vinyl polymers, vinyl products. Vinyl chloride is also used as a refrigerant. It is also used as an adhesive for plastics, and before we knew it was a carcinogen, it was used as a propellant. So I'm hoping कि ये आपको सारा table आ गया हो. And that's it. Allah Hafiz.